Conflict. We all deal with it, right? And let's be honest, most of us kind of dread it. It's that tense meeting at work, the argument you keep having, that awkward silence. But what if the way we think about it, our entire approach is, well, kind of wrong? Today, we're going to rethink conflict from the ground up. The second you hear that word conflict, your brain probably goes straight to stress, arguments, maybe even broken relationships. But is that the whole story? I mean, is it really? Let's challenge that idea for a minute and look at this thing through a totally new lens. And we desperately need a new lens because check this out. Studies show that managers spend more than 20% of their time. That's a whole day every single week just dealing with conflict. Think about that. A full day gone. Clearly, whatever we're doing now is costing us a ton of time and energy. Here's the thing. Conflict really has two faces. Handled badly, it's an absolute wrecking ball. It wastes time, kills motivation, tanks productivity, the whole shebang. But, and this is the key, when you manage it well, it can be this incredible catalyst for change. It can actually make relationships stronger, fire up team spirit, and even spark real innovation. The outcome isn't about the conflict itself. It's all about how you decide to handle it.
So, how do we handle it? Well, the most common answer you'll hear is all about your conflict style. You've probably heard of these, right? Maybe you've even taken a quiz to find yours. So let's do a quick run through of this framework because it's going to set the stage for a much, much bigger idea. First up, you've got competing. This is your classic I win, you lose approach. Total focus on your own concerns. Think of a hardball negotiation where you are just not backing down. Your goal is simply to win. On the total opposite end of the spectrum, you have accommodating. This is the you win, I lose style. When you just go along with your friend's movie choice, even though you'd rather see something else, just to keep things smooth. The goal is to yield. Then there's avoiding. This is basically the let's just pretend this isn't happening strategy. You don't bring up the issue, you hope it just magically disappears. It's a lose-lose, really, because nothing gets resolved. Next is collaborating. Now, this is the one everyone holds up as the gold standard, the big win-win. It's where you work together to find a solution that really, truly satisfies everybody. It's awesome when it works, but man, it takes a lot of trust and energy from everyone involved. And finally, there's compromising. This is the let's just split the difference approach. You want pizza, they want tacos, so you get burgers. Nobody gets their first choice, but you find a quick middle ground solution and move on. Okay, so those are the 5 styles, and you probably recognize yourself in one of them, maybe more than one. But here is the question that changes everything. Is knowing your go-to style actually enough? Does it really help you get better results, or is it just a label that kind of puts you in a box? This is where we get to a much smarter, much more useful way of thinking about all this. What if we stop worrying about our internal style, and instead we start judging our actions based on 2 simple external criteria? And here they are. Instead of asking, what's my style? I want you to start asking these 2 questions. First, was I effective? Simple. Did I achieve my goal? And second, was I appropriate? Did I follow the rules of the situation? And just as important, did I preserve the relationship? See, true success isn't about a fixed style. It's about being both effective and appropriate in that specific moment. So here's where it gets really cool. What happens when we take those old styles we just talked about and map them onto this new framework? Well, it completely changes how we look at them. So check out this grid. This reframes the entire conversation. It's not about which style is best, but about how competent it is for the situation. Let me walk you through it. Look at the top left. You were effective, but you were inappropriate. We call that maximizing. That's the competing style. Yeah, you won, but you probably damaged the relationship to do it. Now drop to the bottom left. Here, you're ineffective and inappropriate. That's minimizing, which is basically the avoiding style, a total lose-lose where nothing gets solved. Okay, now let's go to the bottom right. You're appropriate, but you're ineffective. We call this sufficing. That's the accommodating style. You kept the peace, sure, but you completely gave up on your goal. And that leaves the top right quadrant, which is the sweet spot, optimizing. You were both effective and appropriate. You achieved your goals and you preserved the relationship. This is what conflict competence looks like. But hold on, we're not done. There is one more layer to this that is absolutely critical to understand. What we define as appropriate or even effective isn't some universal truth. It is deeply, deeply shaped by our cultural context.
I mean, just look at this. Research has shown for a while that in many Asian cultures, for example, styles like avoiding or accommodating, which, let's be honest, Western models often see as weak, are actually viewed as highly competent. And why is that? Because the primary goal might not be to win the argument, but to maintain harmony in the group. So, what this all boils down to is that competence is in the eye of the beholder. There's often a common Western bias that says assertive, solution oriented strategies are the best. But in a context where relational harmony is the most important thing, avoiding a direct confrontation or yielding a point might actually be the most skillful, the most competent choice you can make. Okay, let's bring it all home. What are the big things to take away from this? First, stop thinking about your style and start judging outcomes. Was it effective? Was it appropriate? Second, shift your focus from a fixed personality trait to a flexible skill, your competence. Third, that optimizing state, being both effective and appropriate, that's your North Star. That's usually what you're aiming for. And finally, and this is so important, remember that context is king. What's competent in one culture or situation might be a total disaster in another. So I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time you find yourself in one of those difficult conversations, what question are you going to ask yourself? Are you going to fall back on that simple label of, oh, that's just my style? Or are you going to challenge yourself to ask the much more powerful question? In this situation, with this person, what is the most competent thing I can do?